Maev's in, and they're like, looks good. Like, my tether is on. Like, the D-Shield came through, enabling for that huge damage, that huge Maiev pressure. Let's find out what map we're going to next game, because these guys are just, this just back and forth at each other's throats, and it's time to get weird. Go to BRAXIS.
Oh, it's time to get weird indeed. We said it was going to happen in this series, of course, because of the map bans, and here we go. BRAXIS Holdout, one that we have not cast at the Crucible so far, so this is going to be exciting, and this is where I think, like you said, things are going to get odd. This is a map that can host some very unorthodox style of draft, so we'll see what these teams have prepared for us.
I mean, we got to talk about the 4-1s. You got to talk about the heroes that thrive in that setting. There's been eras where people are trying to run like Crash Lightning a little bit more. That's definitely fallen off with Thrall. Still not a terrible hero for this map. Alex Straza sometimes sees more play here. And of course, Globals having that snap rotation to, you know, have the instantaneous 5-4 can of course be huge.
Yep, heroes that excel in their fast rotation, especially if they're able to jump over walls. So Muradin sees a little bit of extra value on this map because he can quickly rotate onto one of those beacons and try to control it for his team.
True.
You know, stuff like Fnatic really value the Muradin, of course. You know, Breeze is a god, but Maiev and Garrosh banned out here, so see how they decide to play this draft. Genji also very powerful on this map because of the boss, because of the rotation.
There he is.
And, oh, there we go, first pick.
Good to know. Good to point out that Jaina was being considered as a ban. Also good to point out that the Haka just saw a first pick.
Jeez,
because, again, the power of Globals and Phoenix, an amazing hero on this map.
Yes.
Clear is very good and consistent. He can apply lots of good pressure, and of course, he's mobile.
Yep, and he's hard to kill under those tight circumstances. That's so funny. Genji and then Muradin right away. We were talking about Spice. We got the Abathur. Tell me about Abathur.
I mean, double Genji is very hard to defend against, the amount of damage they can put on, and just the chaos with the mobility diving at you, and just the Abathur hat on top of Genji, on top of Muradin, the threat and the posture. And then, again, it's all about just being able to outweigh a single lane, right? The solo lane, the off lane.
Yep.
Abathur is going to be that resource that makes it very difficult for the Haka, essentially.
And then those toxic nests as well to stop rotations from being powerful. And even though this is a two-lane map, it is very rotational focused.
You have to,
Exactly, because if you don't, then your opponents will just go focus somewhere else, and then you're just like losing up. Like it's,
and the paths are
really
very limited, right?
Yes.
So that's why the toxic nests are so annoying, honestly, because you're like just going for a stroll and your horse loses its leg.
Okay, this is amazing. We don't have Stukov or Malfurion picked or banned in the first portions of the draft.
Literally the first draft, probably of the entire Crucible in NAU where that's happened.
It's a different game.
I'm not sure, but
likely. Blaze banned, and then okay, there he is. Lord Stu of House Kov ends up being banned here.
So they're afraid of the isolation, but they're basically forcing their opponents into not into Malfurion.
Whoa.
The Malf ignored. They go Jaina Karazim instead. And I'm super intrigued by this because, like, you know, Malfurion does very well with Jaina. You got the Innervate, reduce cooldowns for those long cooldowns on her spells. And, of course, Malfurion's considered to be the top support right now. Why Karazim, do you think? To
match the Genji. Karazim is a great pickup against Genji, against Tracer, because they step in, and Karazim will actually out-trade these heroes.
Yeah.
So I actually like that. And, of course, you know, you have the Abathur Genji. You're looking for those one-shots.
That's
so
true.
You'll have the Palm for that as well. Or they could even look at a blow-up, but I do see Palm being a little bit more valuable here. No Tomorrow, they've got their Abathur, they got their Genji. They need a dedicated solo most of the time in circumstances like this. We've seen some weird solos on this map. We've seen Rexars, like, I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen,
actually, I mean, Rexar Abathur would be kind of weird, but honestly at the same time, Misha with an Abathur hat is actually insane because it's so safe and so pestrous. Is pestrous a real word? It is now, because it's interesting. But no, first Junkrat though, he has been really lacking in these games.
That's true. You know, he kind of fell off a little bit. I personally love Junkrat, both because he's a rat and he's dirty and gnarly, but also just because he plays, like, I love playing him. You know, you just sit on the back line and chunk people with grenades the whole time. He's super fun. And then Anubarak as the final choice for King's Gambit. What do you think?
It's the first time we've seen them put Diesel on a noob in this series. You know, when we look at them, they just want to force the fights, right? Be able to set that up. But this is kind of a different approach because if you can stop the sanctification with Cocoon before it comes out, you can just win these fights. And considering they've already invested in kind of Karazim to be able to get some of that like snap blow up and stuff, I think it'll be pretty interesting. So I'm actually really excited to see this new Breck play out because of the way that King's Gambit plays the game in general.
So there's like there's two different ways. It can either be a 7-sided, you're trying to blow up the Muradin right away, or it's just a cocoon and then you're just trying to stop the Genji with the Divine Palm. So both are styles that King's Gambit can run, but honestly, I think No Tomorrow's draft is going to be so difficult to deal with, like very difficult.
Yeah, they got a lot of power picks here for this map in particular. Their rotations with the Abathur and the Genji being able to just kind of be omnipresent on the map since it's such a small map, they can just go through walls. That's going to be, like, just early game is going to be very tough, I feel, on the side of King's Gambit.
Yeah, anytime you have like an Abathur or anything like that on this map, like we were saying, cutting off the rotations, you know, kind of turning the 1v1 into a 2v1 in your advantage if you have the Abathur. And then, yeah, there's the sustain and the poke and the zone control from Junkrat with those concussive mines, with the steel traps. He's so annoying to deal with. That's why I love him.
All right, guys, looks like we are ready to rock and roll for the 4th game of this series. And you know, it's been very back and forth, but No Tomorrow's draft is a spicy one. Looking at it here, we can see they are rocking Abathur, Muradin, Tyrael, Genji, and Junkrat. And Tomster playing that Abba support. Not something that we talked about, really. The fact that this is a specialist filling the support role. Abathur does have a lot of healing, and with this, the sustain that you have there on these other heroes like Muradin and Tyrael, it works out in a very fun way.
Yep. On the right, we've got King's Gambit. It's something that we haven't seen very much, the Phoenix, Dahaka and Nubrak, Jaina, and Karazim, but there are comfort picks over there. And just to talk about the Abathur, yes, it does fill the support role in this game, but it's something that we've seen show up a few other times before. So it's not like super crazy at this point, and especially considering the map we were talking about, a little bit of different style, because it can work on this map. We'll see if No Tomorrow have this one all practiced and ready to go.
It's a different style of play that we're seeing here, though, and that's just the nature of Heroes of the Storm with a variety of maps. You just kind of have to approach certain maps in a very different way, which is why it's so good. But looking at level 1, I mean, we know how Abathur's going to build kind of forest, and it is quite common, as you mentioned, for the Karazim to go into that Iron Fist, considering a huge part of his role is putting that pressure onto the enemy team, and when they dive forward, and also the lack of their consistent healing for the team. Karazim can, of course, help attribute a lot of good blow-up for his team with maybe 7-sided.
Very true. So already we're seeing the value of Abathur, with those nests in the top right bush, stopping the advance of King's Gambit, saying, like, we're gonna watch you, we're gonna find out where you are at all times. King's Gambit now focusing on the siege camp.
Diesel's literally like on toxic nest cleanup duty right now, just walking forward, expecting them to be around there and grabbing that. Also seen some defensive nest plays that's going to give you intel, and of course just slow down any kind of invade that would rotate around. But is this becoming more common for the 4-mans to be opposite lanes?
I think that King's Gambit are just trying to keep things in check. They don't want to fall into just the 1-4, because that's what No Tomorrow wants. Now King's Gambit, they pick up their camp, and they need to start picking up structures if they can. They're one body up, because as everyone knows, Abathur, he basically just hats people. He doesn't use his body aside from safe soaking. So King's Gambit are just trying to take advantage of that. They have top, they got most of the wall, so the better trade for them for sure. And here comes the dig. Zergling looking to pick up Jayshrit. No bomb to save him, so Jayshrit's gonna die here.
A decent attempt for the retreat. Droplets did go in there with no shields, which was definitely a calculated risk, which they did succeed in taking. But Droplets trying to get away here from the Abathur Hat and Muradin. That's going to be enough to pick up the kill. A nice rotation there from Jin to punish that very low Phoenix.
Excellent job indeed. Now the Hat is topside, and that is the problem that we were talking about. You can just float this extra hero top and bottom so quickly, and it's very tough to deal with.
And the Genji, Muradin, and Tyrael all such amazing targets, because they can get onto that back line, put that pressure forward, and pick up the kills that we already saw. The fact that they were able to avenge Jayshrit immediately is huge for them. Already we see the essence being used here. Zergling throws out a drag, just hoping that he'll step forward. Equinox juking beautifully with that Ultra Rune's Might, and very even. Zero progress for either team.
All right. What do we got here? We got top under control for King's Gambit. Jayshrit just trying to control bottom as best as possible, but this is kind of how this map gets, you know? It can get a little bit slower in states like this. Droplets using his warp to stop the damage coming in from Casanova, but control over top is no tomorrows. King's Gambit just trying to hold bottom, but here comes the Abathur hat, again, swinging numbers for no tomorrow wherever they want it.
It's going to be tough for Phoenix. He has to be very careful because Genji is, of course, up there. He's dashing in on the top lane, actually, forcing him to teleport away. It's kept the shields for the most part, so didn't take any damage, which is definitely a victory. Diesel will not be able to fight a Muradin with an Abathur hat for an extended period of time, especially with the style of Abathur being basically their support here and just a ton of sustain for that hero in that situation. But Genji finally rotating down. There's a 2v1 in the top lane right now as Phoenix is a bit slow with the rotation, so very safe posture needed for King's Gambit during this moment.
18% is the lead for no tomorrow at this point.
Progress? Are they going to get progress here? Muradin's going to have to jump in.
But Abathur hat is bottom. Jin taking a little bit of damage, but Casanova just being that annoying bee on the side, just throwing out the shurikens as Genji, then rotating top. And this is how you play Genji on this map. Now Genji is immediately top, and likely the Abathur hat can come through too for extra damage onto Zergling, but he's going to use his essence and walk away.
The thing about the style of play we have for No Tomorrow, though, although it excels when it comes to this fighting over the two beacons, if you start to lose and it gets into the push where it's a full-on, like King's Gambit has their siege moving in and you're fighting 5v5, it's not necessarily that great in the early game.
I completely agree, and that's why I love what King's Gambit did by taking their camps and then just pushing in the lane, because that is exactly how you have to play against it. And if you're able to get this objective too, you just straight up push with it and you force team fights. If you just force on your opponents and instead of play like the stall game, then King's Gambit definitely have the edge in this situation. Droplets getting Concussive Mind back to safety, so a little bit of a misstep there, but I'm not sure if Jayshwick actually could have found that Concussive Mine.
Probably not, but still, close call there for our Phoenix player. Escaping clutches, about half HP, has those shields regenerating as we speak. We do see some of the Merc camps now being collected here on the side of No Tomorrow, just trying to, get something on the map, but during this, they're being punished. They know that they're not in this top lane, so it's being marched forward, and some fort damage finally applied into the top.
Smart too of King's Gambit. As soon as they showed on this fort, Diesel went back to stop a back cap if it were to show up. It hasn't showed up yet, but that's the smart mentality. You have to do that if you're going to play against one of these compositions. And King's Gambit, they push top with their camp. They take the first fort of the game. Jin trying to back cap, but Diesel is there.
I love
King's Gambit are just on top of it.
They're on point. And Droplets has been playing very safe during this. The drag is available. Nice juke there from Jeshurte getting away from Zergling, which wouldn't necessarily have been a kill, but definitely a dicey spot. But Droplets has the teleport away. Very close call. Stormbolt could have spelled disaster.
Now the counter engage onto Equinox. He's in trouble, the Eldruins, but it's not going to be enough.
With the Frostbolt, there's no way you're getting away from this.
Yeah. Kevin with those constant slows. Even though the Abathur's there, it's not enough of a support to save Tyrael. 2 kills to 1 for King's Gambit, almost a full level lead. And with this kill, can they take control over bottom? Genji floating top.
I gotta say, King's Gambit is playing this beautifully. I think the early game is by far the hardest part for them compositionally in this situation. And Jin staying as long as he can before Dwarf tossing back to safety. Straight will bring him back to full health in no time. But progress finally being picked up here. 18 to 36, rapidly rising on the side of King's Gambit, and all the focus is coming to the bottom lane. We do see Anub'arak and Jaina slowly rotating down, but they are far away. Droplets super low. The shields are gone. Genji not going to commit to that dive onto Droplets with the flank coming in. We do see Diesel and Ekevin. Ekevin's going to be the focus target here with the Abathur hat going in onto Equinox. And yes, Casanova diving in forward, looking for that easy kill. Well done as they pick it up, but progress resuming, and they're going to be able to hold this. Genji's desperately trying to get to top, but I think he's going to be too late to stop this progress. 98, 100%.
Jayshwick also getting chunked out massively, and now the focus is on Toby. Is the bomb there? And it is. So 2 kills going over to No Tomorrow. Level 10's very, very close for King's Gambit, but the fact that they picked up the first objective in this game is huge. That's something that No Tomorrow wanted with their style of draft. And you're saying, once this game starts to open up, it gets harder and harder for No Tomorrow, because King's Gambit can just force your fights. You've got the cocoon. Anyone steps up, you can really find those engages. So King's Gambit, even though they went down 2, are pretty happy with the way that this turned out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, their clear is okay. It's nothing amazing. Junkrat definitely has great splash, but the top fort was already down. So we're looking at Keep Tower has taken heavy damage here, and everyone has is back up online. Karazim is a little bit far away, but they're not super concerned about that. They have that forward pressure to just keep them away from all of the Zerg and just, you know, those Hydras do so much. That's where they want to try to focus. The Hydras do the most damage in the wave, and a good portion of them have been able to stay alive. Riptire for the defense as they get a stun onto Diesel. Big damage onto the wave, and Kevin taking a lot as well. Cocoon has been cast onto Tyrael. No save case available. Planet Cracker doing huge damage as we see Hatsanova with the hat on top of him. That isolation almost enough to seal the deal and kill that Genji, but slipping into the shadows does he.
But King's Gambit understand this is how they have to play it. They 5-man top, they get the keep wall. They were very close to scoring some kills there, but I would say the way that they responded to this style of draft from No Tomorrow is better than I've ever seen anyone. And now stunned up is Muradin. Equinox is the next target, but Zergling, he gets concussive mind, you know, to a little bit of danger, but he's stepping in.
Drag was close. Casanova does dash in. Droplets is a bit vulnerable here once the shields are gone. Phoenix dies quick. But the heals will start coming through. We do see this camp being stolen right now. No Muradin, so no way to safely contest this. They do have the Avatar in the bottom, however, to give them a little bit of something on the map. That's the only thing that No Tomorrow has right now.
But King's Gambit, this is what they're going to do. They're going to take this camp and then just rotate into the bottom lane. There's a lot of soak down there, and they're just going to continue to push and 5-stack these lanes. And this is so difficult for No Tomorrow to deal with at this point. They're feeling the heat for sure. They're going to be picking up their bruiser camp and then just have a bottom focus. Wait for the next objective to spawn, force team fights.
The shot calling of this team of King's Gambit right now is just wonderful to see. I'm so impressed with the fact that this is probably the hardest early game situation they've been put in, and they've lost most early games in this series, and this is the one where they just like buckled down, had a plan, and executed against their opponents. It's not like a huge advantage, but the fact that top is that exposed is definitely a problem for No Tomorrow.
No Tomorrow, they're feeling the heat. They want to force a fight. Here comes the clone. This is a good opportunity for them. Jin looking for an engage. Can they find it?
The Riptire does get destroyed, not exploded in time. Droplets is low, the deflect is there, but Tomster loses in that clone. We just see Dahaka come down with the Brush Talker, finds himself a drag. Jin not quite going to die here. Kapava, that Avatar, staying alive. Genji again, going for it with the burrow charge, finds the mark. Diesel with a brilliant blow up. Jin has the dwarf toss, but can he escape their clutches? Stepping forward, are they? Diesel, not quite able to burrow charge just yet. They're just going to look for the fort.
Sanctification was just a little bit too late there, too. So No Tomorrow just not finding the engage. I like what they tried. You know, the members of King's Gambit were stepped up very far. The clone came out,
but going for top
they
keep?
weren't on the same target. They could. They have their level 13. They can just absolutely...
Equinox is scouting around. He's in a very precarious situation. But nope, they're just going to go for the objective here. Zergling considers sticking around. They will get 4%, something.
Diesel actually rotates down instead of them focusing top here. So the level 13s are here for King's Gambit. They're going to get both of these channels. Top is pushing in, so King's Gambit winning everywhere on the map right now.
Yeah, Avatar forced to get a few locusts in there, but the damage on the Jin is good. Backline Kevin is so very low. Ice block Palm. Oh, it's not going to get triggered here. They wait long enough, but Kevin stays alive for a lot longer than I would have expected. Last bomb coming in from Junkrat, finding the kill. Toby needs to get to safety, but Jin very low. They get the double kill on Genji and Tyrael, and the Cocoon goes out on the Junkrat. This is progress picking up. The top keep is under siege, Kala.
This is huge. The Cocoon is there. The follow-up CCJ Shrit is down indefinitely. There's the clone, but it's not going to do anything here. Muradin rotating top, trying to stop the progress, but likely King's Gambit recognize it. We already see Diesel on his way up top, going to be burrow charging
Muradin
in there to stop it.
He's doing everything he can to slow down this push. I mean, Avatar's in top lane. That's definitely a small victory, being able to help deal with the Merc camp that was up there pressuring the lane. But, man, this is a tough spot right now for No Tomorrow.
Absolutely. 80+% here. Jin doing an excellent job at stopping the progress from going in. And now we see the other members of No Tomorrow rotating top to try to control that one, too.
Slows could be a problem here. You see Zergling's getting that movement speed. Misses the drag, however. Jin is quite low. Isolation goes out. That could be what they need. Oh, the bomb working against them. But Jin does have the tools. That isolation has expired, and living is Muradin.
Here we go. Second objective in heavy favor of King's Gambit at this point. Top was defended by this Abathur, but keep in mind, folks, there is no Mule-chan here to save the top keep if that continues being under siege, but bottom is huge for King's Gambit.
So the wall's going down. That's what we know. Riptire started up, but I guess did not get fully cast here. we do see that the Riptide is now coming out, looking for a Planet Cracker onto Dishert. They trying to just force him away, pop that bomb early, not be able to linger with it. Cocoon now onto Tyrael, denying the safecation coming out, but Dishert is so low. Oh, down he goes. The keep is down, but Droplets, palm. Oh, wow. Dragon Blade now picking up some value, looking for those kills, doing desperate things to try to keep this team alive. But there goes one of the Genji clones. We do see the core losing its shields. Health bars, however, aren't great. Kira's team doesn't have the most healing. Dahaka has the essence, though. That's 50. What they need. They're tearing through this core.
50-30%. King's Gambit focusing on the core exclusively, coming in super hot in this game. Picking up the victory is King's Gambit, and it was against a draft that is actually very difficult to go up against. You know, I was saying no tomorrow. I was like, their draft is not fun. You know, you have this Abathur, you have this constant rotation from the Muradin and the Genji, but the way that King's Gambit played it was actually perfect. Like, they played it so smart.
Just that safe, constant pressure for the Merc camps, you know, opening up the top lane. When they did manage to just kind of live through, find the few kills in the, you know, combatant trades, be safe with the Phoenix, the pseudo solo lane, right? The flexibility with him as a ranged assassin, but also the safe solo lane situation for him. That made a huge difference, I feel, the Phoenix pick.
Yes, I actually love the fact that you asked me the question. You're like, is this something we usually see on this map? You know, the kind of the flex between the format of bottom and top. And of course, the response was, no, it's their response to the Abathur style of draft, right? They pick up the camp and they push with it because that is your best way to deal with a composition like that. And when there were 4-person stacking in a lane and actually getting a lot of chunk out of their Phoenix pick, out of, you know, their Jaina pickup, there was just not the sustain there from No Tomorrow with their lack of real support.
Dude,
very well done.
I mean, we're seeing the experience, right? Even though some of these players are fairly new, right? We have Hero League warriors like Diesel playing in, and Droplets has been around forever. This team is flexible, they're adapting, and they're aggressive, and we love watching it. But we're not done just yet, guys. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we'll have the 5th game of the series.